Hello and welcome to the Mindful Making video podcast. Welcome to 2022 and welcome to my yarn room here in Hornsby Heights, which is north of Sydney in Australia. My name is Jane and the Mindful Making video podcast is all about yarn, about making and about knitting in particular, and it's about sharing the joy of making. So welcome. I hope you have landed well in this new year of 2022. I hope you have enjoyed a bit of holiday and spending time with family and friends over the holiday season. I hope you have had time to just sit back, relax, be and breathe, and possibly have been knitting a few things, reading, watching your favorite Christmas movie or series on Netflix, as we call it. And I am thrilled to have you here. If it's the first time you are here, welcome. I'm delighted that you found my little corner of the internet. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I truly enjoy these opportunities to sit down and chat with you and talk about makings and yarn and knitting. Today it is episode number 36. Today it is the 5th of January 2022. It is a warm and humid day. There is rain outside. Yesterday was very hot. Today it is hot and humid, so a bit of glistening and in the face. But welcome. Today we will talk about 2 finished objects, and there are 2 new projects on the needles that I will show you. And there has also been a few yarn additions to my collection, and I will share them with you as well. You can find me as Mindful Making on Instagram, and I am Mindful Making AU on Ravelry. As I talked about in a few episodes back, I have a website in development. We are planning on launching it mid-January, and if you are interested, please go and check out mindfulmaking.com.au, and you can sign up for a newsletter and be the first to know when the doors open, and you can check it out. And also by signing up for the newsletter, you can hear more of what is happening behind the scenes and be part of the Mindful Making community. So if you are interested, please do that. There is a link in the description box below to the website. So it will be an honor for me if you would want to check that out as well. Let's move into the knitting. So let's start with the first finished object, which is what I am wearing. This is the Summer Breeze tee. I talked about it in the last episode where it was almost finished. It is a lace weight yarn that is used for this summer top. It is a round yoke, top down, stockinette fabric. So it's knit in a round, and it was beautiful to work with. The yarn that I have been using is a blend of merino, 55% merino and 45% silk, which gives it that light structure and some drape and some shine from the silk. It's super light and just very delicate, and to wear it next to skin, so perfect for that. As I said, it is a lace weight, so they're a lace weight yarn, so there are a lot of stitches to knit, but you know, it's just knit. So it goes pretty fast. The yarn that I have used for this you have seen before, but it is from Glenhaven knits, and it is called the Merino Decadence lace. It's a 2-ply. It's 800 meters, 100 grams. And this colorway is called African Daisy. It's a beautiful pink with a bit of purple, orange splashes, a bit of blues in it as well, on a white base. So I think, you know, with a lace weight jumper, you can get away with either 1 or 2 max skeins of yarn. So it is an opportunity to let the yarn shine and maybe spend a bit more on the yarn that you would otherwise not do if it was a full, you know, 6 skeins sweater or so. I have linked to the shop down below. The pattern is now at the tech editor, and a few episodes back I had a call out for testers, and thank you all for sending through your interest or expression of interest to participate in the testing. And some of you have also said, oh, you didn't respond back, is it over? I wasn't chosen to test it. Well, it hasn't happened yet. It's just today I sent it off to tech editing. I hope to be able to send it out for testing mid-January. So if you already signed up, you will receive more information and you can decide on whether you want to participate. That is also something I will talk about in the newsletter if you sign up on the website mindfulmaking.com.au. But I really enjoy this little tee. I will try to stand up, and you can see that it is, it's not cropped, but it's not long either. So it's waist length, sort of to the belt. On the trousers, I will try and do a little spin. What I've seen from a previous version that I've knitted of this top is that the yarn will slightly will drape and grow slightly. It's not much lengthwise and also widthwise. It's worked on a 2.75 millimeter needles, and I have used 1 skein of yarn, so 800 meters. Well, literally 800 meters, because this is what is left of the skein. Not much, tiny nugget that I will just savor should there be a tiny rip one day for repair. So I will save this little tiny nugget. But keep your eyes peeled for eventually it will be released as a final pattern. You can use any lace weight yarn. This is a size number 3 in the pattern, which is a medium-ish. And I probably did the sleeves tiny bit shorter to allow it to stay within 1 skein. So that size I have recommended 2 skeins. But for smaller sizes, you can get away with 1 skein. I will let you know when the pattern is out. Follow on the newsletters and also Instagram, and I will talk about it here as well. finished object was finished on New Year's Eve. Well, actually 2 hours before it was to be gifted. So just in time, just in time. So you can see it up here. It is a pair of socks. It is a pattern called Harbour, and it's designed by Rayna Curtis. It's a free pattern as far as I remember on Ravelry. I used the stitch pattern and the structure for these socks, and otherwise I knitted them according to the intersections socks, which are from 52 weeks of socks. I knitted them 2 at a time, toe down, or toe up, because that's my favorite way of knitting socks. I used the Highland sock yarn from Skyline, and the color is Shrew. And I will show you the color later, because I have another pair of socks that I'm working in leftover yarns of the Highland sock. I use a lot of Holst yarn. And people have asked how I get it. Well, it's a Danish company, and I had often ordered a sort of a large quantity of yarn and got it shipped out here. So even with postage, it's a reasonably priced yarn, and I really enjoy the quality, the price point, and all the beautiful colors. Otherwise, whenever we have visitors, I will order a few cones or skeins of yarn that they will bring out in their suitcases. So my son arrived on the 15th of December, and yes, he is still here. We are really enjoying having him around, and half of his suitcase was filled with yarn, béarnaise sauce, and licorice. So he said he barely had room for any clothes because of all our orders to bring Danish goodies. And I will, just as a little intermezzo here, just insert a little short film. It's not, well, it's half a minute or so from when we picked him up at the airport. Everything went smoothly. Of course, then when he arrived, he had to, to do the PCR tests, and that was just leading into Christmas, and there were a lot of pressure on the testing system here in Australia. So he waited for, I think, 4 days or something to get his results. And when he had it, and a negative result, and everything is fine, went out with his old friends, and just seeing him giving his great friend a big sort of boy bear hug was just absolute joy. Yeah, that was great. It's good to have him here. We've all been together over the Christmas seasons, but of course, with the young people in the household, they are off to their various, friends groups and to the beach and have all of their social life sorted. So that's absolutely fine, and as it should be. That was the finished objects. Next is what is on the needles. You would have seen in the intro some beautiful tonal a yarn of bluish, pinks, rose, purpley, grey colors. So those are from the advent calendar I bought, and I had the pleasure of opening each day during December. It's from Natural Fiber Arts, and I will just, you will see a short just picture of the full range of all the 24 mini skeins, each of 20 grams, that I received during December. So on Christmas night, when I finished the socks, the needles were empty. I was all done, nothing, no works in progress, nothing. So on Christmas Day morning, I started and casted on my Christmas project, which is the Skyline wrap, designed by Helen Stewart of Curio Handmade. It's a wrap that is specifically designed and developed together with Natural Fiber Arts and the Advent Calendar. And it's an absolute joy to work with. Well, do you want to see it? Well, here it comes. So here it is. This is how far I have come, starting in this here with a 2x2 ribbing, moving into chevrons and a slip stitch pattern, more chevrons and more open chevrons, and the slip stitch pattern again, moving through the colors. So this is then I am 70% done, and the beauty of Helen's patterns is that she gives you the how far you've come in percentages, so you can follow along. Her patterns also writes out every row, so you can just sort of tick along, so you always know where you are. I have enjoyed knitting on this, and also just seeing the different colors, how they blend together and being individual at the same time. The last colors, I will just insert a little film so you can see the last remaining 7 colors that I will be using. I have these 3 or 4 sections left, and they will be worked in darker colors, and then it will be done. Yeah. The yarn is squishy and bouncy, so you see there is a lot of bounciness and memory in this yarn, and I'm looking forward to see it blocked. I can highly recommend both this yarn, which is an 80 merino 20 nylon blend. If you have leftovers or have another calendar or scrap yarn that you want to use, this is an excellent pattern to build up using those leftover yarns. Each mini skein is 20 grams, and I basically have half each of those mini skeins left. So here are the leftover yarn so far. I think there could be some beautiful tonal socks worked from these in beautiful stripes. So it's double the joy of the Advent calendar. So they are sitting on my shelf, being part of the decorations here in my yarn room. So that was the Skyline wrap, and as I said before, everything that I mentioned you can find more information about and links to in the description box below. Second work in progress is a pair of socks. So these socks are also worked in a leftover yarn in the Highland sock from Holskan. And they might look a bit odd when you see them, because I put in the small balls of yarn into each sock so they wouldn't get entangled. So here are the socks that I'm working on. These are the Curio socks, and they are designed by Andrea Murray. When I first saw that pattern, I fell totally and utterly in love with that, you know, very simple but very effective stripe structure, and then slip stitches up along the feet, both under and sort of in the interstep, is that what it's called, and then underfoot in the sole. And I thought it was, you know, for all leftover yarns, you can mix and match the stripes, suitable for children, men and female. So I thought that these will be, this is a men's size. I think it's a medium size in the pattern. And you know, I will take out now the small balls of yarn in here. So here we have the shrew, which is the color that I used for the finished object, the pair of petty Harbour socks that I made for Christmas. And then this one is charcoal, and then there is the marine, which is the last one in here. Here. And as you can see, I am working 2 at a time, toe up, and the pattern is designed for toe up knitting. I must admit though that knitting 2 at a time, 3 colors of yarn, does give a bit of yarn juggling, but it's totally worth the effort, and having 2 socks finished at the same time. So you can see that I have chosen to do the charcoal is the main color, and then 2 stripes of the brown and then 1 blue. But second work in progress, the Curio socks, worked on a 2.25 millimeter needles. You can find also in the description box below, I have added links to the project pages on Ravelry, so you can find a bit more detail there. Yep, so they are works in progress. Next, I thought I would talk about dream knitting, which I have a lot of dreams and a lot of ideas, and often too little time to enact all of them to make them actually happen. One jumper that I've wanting to knit for a long time is this one, and it is the pink fizz, also designed by Andrea Murray. I think there is I'm just in an Andrea period at the moment, and I want to make it a soft pink as well color, and the yarn that I will be using is again Holst yarn. I have this pretty multicolored pink. There is a bit of yellow, orange in it as well, sort of heathered in this yarn. It is super soft. It is 100% wool, and the color is sweet pea. I will hold that together with the Titicaca, which is a 100% alpaca yarn, to give it that fluff and for this to be an alternative to silk mohair. I haven't tried this combo before, and I'm looking very much forward to knitting that jumper. That will be the next thing on my needles. Well, I hope to cast it on as soon as the Skyline wrap is finished. So that's a bit of dream knitting, together with all the other projects that I've mentioned in previous episodes, still on the queue and on the list of want to make one day. In terms of things that have entered into my world of knitting, I received a knitting book for Christmas as a Christmas gift. And it is this book, which is in Danish. It is Knitting for Summer, Strik til Sommer. It is Susie Haumann. And what I like about Susie Haumann's patterns are that they are super simple. It's just subtle colors, subtle embellishments and detail. It's just very pure and pure simplicity and elegant simplicity. So let me show you a few examples here. A beautiful cardigan, which is called Lønstrup, which is a little a beach town in the northern of Jutland. We went there a lot on vacation. And then there is this little summer top that I might knit. But so far I haven't settled on anything in particular. There's also this one, which is hard to see, but it is a silk mohair jumper with a little v-neck here. Cute. Yeah, Susie Haumann. The books are only available in Danish, sadly. I know from some of my English-speaking friends that they would love to knit some of her designs. There are some on Ravelry and on susiehaumann.dk, some patterns that are translated to English, but not the books as such are not. That was one Christmas present. Another Christmas present was actually pre-Christmas, and it was a gift for myself, or from me to me. Oh, there is a bit of, let's see now, a bit of sunlight coming through, but I have also talked about Union Fiber before, New Zealand dye. She dyes the most beautiful, moody, dark colors. And I have been on the lookout for some of these sort of darker colors for some time. And when I saw she had a shop update, I was just sitting there. I had the alarm set so that I could buy them then when they were ready for sale. In here, what I ordered first were these, which are merino linen blend. And you can see, especially in this skein here, that the linen fiber does not take dye as well or as much as the merino, which gives this interesting color, lack of color, variations in the yarn. So I totally adore this color. It is called Fallow. And then there is a gray. And it is called Keep. Then we have this beautiful yellowy green, light olive green. And it is called Green Gold, absolutely. And the last one, which is a gray charcoal bluish color, and it is called Joan. What I will make from these, I don't know yet. So far they are just part of my collection and just you know, there to admire and touch, and part of the decorations here in my little room. The next batch, which I couldn't resist when I saw it on Instagram. I was just straight into a shop, have to have them. And that is because of this stunning green. I hope the camera will do the color justice. I actually think the colors on the screen are a bit more gray than the screen is in reality. It's an olive green, and then there is a bit of black and blue in it as well. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Super pretty. And this is a sport weight. It's 100% superwash merino in a sport weight, so 300 meters per 100 gram. Colorway Bygone, B-Y-G-O-N-E, Bygone. I hope there would be enough, so that means 1200 meters for I think there would be cables. I think they talk cables. In a cardi with a few cabling. Wouldn't that be lovely? It's somewhat a new color for me, but it is amazing. Yeah, I am totally and utterly in love with this color and this yarn. A nice present for myself. And this podcast and this episode could have been a year in review episode, but I won't talk through all the projects or all the knitted garments and projects that I did in 2021. You can look through all the previous episodes and you will see them all. But I thought I would just do a short summary of the projects of the year. I finished 29 objects in 2021, and I knitted up 21 kilometers of yarn. So half a marathon. So that's the list. And mostly there were socks, 11 pairs of socks. I didn't know I had knitted that many. 8 sweaters. Some of them were probably reknits, but I counted them twice if I actually had knitted them 2 times. I think 21 was a year of reknits. 2 summer tops, 2 shawls, some dish cloths. I've only written 3, but I think I have a few more. A vest, a cowl, and a beanie. So those are the projects of 21. So a half a marathon knitted, which is not too bad. I have started the page for 2022. Well, nothing fancy in terms of doodling. So it's just same principle as last year, regular notebook, just writing up a page for each of the projects and counting the meter of yarn knitted up. And as soon as my current whips are done, they will be accounted for as finished objects in January. So looking forward to another year of many hours spent knitting and knitting with you guys. That was the end of the yarny knitting related content of the episode today. I will share a few, a bit of what has happened in our life. And if you're not interested in that, thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please feel free to give it a like and subscribe if you feel like it, and also sign up for the newsletter on the mindfulmaking webpage, mindfulmaking.com.au. In terms of life update, thank you so much for all your lovely comments about and well wishes for my mum and her health. I'm happy to say that she is much better now. She is still at the nursing home, so that's really good. Thank you so much for your well wishes. Then we have celebrated Christmas with good friends of ours. All, the COVID situation here in Australia, case numbers are exploding with the Omicron variant. Luckily, it's not as severe as we've seen across the world. But we were just fingers crossed that we could actually meet up for Christmas and New Year, but we could, and we had a beautiful Christmas Eve as we celebrate it as Danish. So it's dinner, beautiful dinner. It's gifts under the Christmas tree. We walk around it holding hands and singing, and then it's all the gifts unwrapping and opening up, and it's a beautiful evening. Then during the Christmas Day, so Christmas Day is just very laid back. As I said, I was just starting my Christmas cast on when it's all quiet, and you were just looking at your gifts and just enjoying time with family and eating leftovers. We didn't have that many leftovers because we didn't host Christmas Eve this year. It was actually, I think, the first time in 10 years we were not hosting. So that was a different experience and very relaxed. And New Year's Eve we celebrated with good friends. It was a long night. I think we were home 4 a.m. in the morning. It hasn't happened for a very, very long time. Yeah, so 1st of January, I slept the entire day. Apparently I needed that. But I just have to say that just being on holiday, having 2 weeks off, I am still on holiday, starting work on the 10th of January, has just been so welcome and so needed. Just, just having time to do nothing and no expectations of, things to do during the day, no to-do lists to tick off and ambitions of what needs to be accomplished on the day. It's just been so wonderful. And I think this year, I have a theme for the year, and I have been thinking of time would be my theme this year, and more on being conscious of how I spend my time. Sometimes it can get, 15 minutes here and 20 minutes there, just scrolling through on the phone, and it all adds up. And is that how I want to spend my time? And we can only spend it once. When it's gone, it's gone. So I think that is a bit of a focus area for me this year. Also, in terms of mindful making, this year I hope to design more knitting patterns and have them released for you. That's my plan and my hopes, but I have to be careful what I promise, because I know energy and sometimes time, there is not enough or not as much as I would want there to be. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in a month's time or so. Bye bye.